think there are so many big tech companies getting into this space. One thing that I look for is, no matter what emerging trend it is the difference between a marketing tactic and then real revenue. So I'm constantly looking for signs of real revenue growth. Usually they're buried into other revenue segments because this is a newer trend. So one great example is that NVIDIA's professional visualization was up, I think, about 150% last quarter. It was up 40% sequentially. That's the kind of thing where you have real revenue growth. You have a company that clearly is meeting demand. And then I would say, meanwhile, Facebook is saying they may lose money on this for some time. What I'm looking for too, that sparks my interest, especially, is the companies that already have an audience that could, become an early adopter. So what companies right now could just change over, create some augmented reality features, put on a lens, or create a virtual space with the audience they have now. I'm less interested in companies that want to bulldoze, if you will, with their cash, a new emerging trend. What I have found is that rarely works out. I like the people that have been working on something already for 10 years and, oh, look, serendipitously, we happen to be situated perfectly for this new market. So as somebody that's been only tech focused for a very long time, I've seen so many new emerging trends that has gotten Wall Street very excited that fell flat. I've seen emerging trends that Wall Street has entirely missed that became the next big investment. I guess if I'm going to throw out one that Wall Street constantly got wrong, was blockchain. I'm just giving you guys because I think you got to really think of the metaverse before, as an emerging trend. So we have, electric vehicles are an emerging trend. You have these big IPOs, pre-revenue. You have the metaverse, an emerging trend. We had blockchain and crypto as an emerging trend over the past decade. Wall Street completely missed that. They still sometimes want to debate the viability of Bitcoin or other blockchain technologies. It's starting to wane a little bit, but you wouldn't want to miss that one, an early Ethereum or an early, another very infrastructure layer one type altcoin. But then, you do have other things like autonomous vehicles, where it's been promised that we would have level 5 since I'm pretty sure around 2016, 2017, I started to see a lot of news headlines around full autonomy. I actually interviewed Intel and Qualcomm and a couple others at CES. I think it was in 2018. And we were discussing, will autonomous vehicles really be on the road anytime soon? No. They all said very clearly it would take years. But Wall Street was already bulling up and putting a lot of money there that clearly has not panned out. So I think, and of course, we will have full autonomy eventually, and those companies that do that will make a lot of money, and that's great. But what I'm trying to say is I think the metaverse is actually a little bit of both. I think we do have some companies coming in and saying, whoa, look at this market, I want to be a part of it. And so they're trying to just throw a bunch of cash and say, I'm in the metaverse, or I'm a metaverse company. And then we have others that are serendipitously centered in this trend that, if you can find them, could greatly pay off. So what I'm most interested in with the metaverse are the companies who already possess an audience, growing that audience in a virtual or augmented world. And that piece is probably the most challenging.
Yeah, I really like how you're trying to find those companies that already have revenue. The obvious one that comes to mind, again, is Facebook. They already have the Oculus, and they're already working on those types of products. And one you've been very vocal about is NVIDIA. I'm curious, are you seeing any projected growth numbers in like the potential size of the metaverse, or how are you able to determine that these companies are starting to see revenue, but are they going to, is this an investable space based on, trying to determine the potential size of the market in the future?
Yes, very investable. I remember I covered Unity at its IPO, and it was about a year and a half ago in September. And I called it the 0 to 100 market because it would basically move so quickly and there'd be so few players. 0 to 100 billion is what I was referencing. It's when it moves, it's going to be overnight growth for the select few. I think getting those select few right is going to be the biggest challenge. And because I think that a lot of people will say they're a metaverse company or whatnot, and meanwhile, others are truly busy serving that market. So it's not like cloud, in my opinion, where the early adopters are very easy, right? Like it drives down costs. So like most companies are going to become cloud companies. Adoption is not the key issue with something like cloud. I'm just giving you guys some contrast